Hello everyone, what's happening? It's Richard Purnell here. How you all doing? I hope you're doing well. So it is Friday, so you know what that means. It is time once again for comics. First things first, I do want to apologize for not having a Tuesday episode of comics for you guys. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. The reasoning behind that is because Labor Day just completely threw me off and I just had no ideas whatsoever to film. I did try to film something based on some awesome suggestions you guys gave on Facebook and Twitter, and I do thank you so much for doing that. That was so nice of you guys. But I did not like the video. I didn't feel like I put myself into it. I just kind of sat there in front of the camera and just went, nah. And I'm never going to upload something that I don't like, so I scrapped it and decided just to wait for Friday episode of comics, and yeah, so I hope you understand. So this week for comic reviews, I have 6, count them, 6 comics to review. And without a shadow of a doubt, the top billing book of this week will definitely be Forever Evil, #1. That's right, the first issue of DC's true first big event is finally here. It's finally ready for us to read. But not only is this finally starting up, the other thing that's finally starting up is Villains Month. Yay! Basically, Villains Month, for those of you that don't know, is another way of DC celebrating the anniversary of their New 52 initiative. Last September, we did an entire month of 0-month issues that were good, bad, and controversial. And since most, if not all, to my knowledge of those books focused squarely on the heroes, this time DC wanted to put the spotlight
on the villains. Fly in my mouth, fly in my mouth, fly in my mouth.
Long story short, this whole Villain Month thing is confusing and annoying, and I'm only going to get certain ones that have certain creators on it that I like, but overall, you're probably going to see a lack of DC reviews, at least within continuity stuff. So if you're a DC fan and you're watching my videos to see some reviews of DC comic books, I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait till October for the most part. Anyways, I am done talking about Villains Month because it hurts my brain, so I'll just get to the comic reviews. So the first comic I'm going to review for you guys is Batman Black and White! Yeah! It's so exciting! That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Batman Black and White has made its official frickin' return, and it has returned beautifully. This is getting really weird, and I don't care. Now, if you don't know exactly what Batman Black and White is, here's a bit of a backstory for you. Batman Black and White is an Eisner Award-winning comic book series that features several different short stories in black and white, all about Batman and Batman's world. And each short story is essentially written by top creators in the comic book business, as well as drawn by top creators. In fact, I would always argue that Batman Black and White is more about the art than it is the writing. And in this issue of Batman Black and White, we get a ton of awesome short stories that range from stuff focusing on the Batmobile to stuff about Harley and Ivy. Just a ton of awesome stuff, and oh my god, this is totally worth it. Every penny this is a great comic. Next up, we have a Villain Month book. And that Villain Month book is none other than Darkseid #1. And by the way, it's in 3D. What? Yeah, I probably forgot to mention that, you know, the majority of DC's New 52 Villains Month books actually come with a 3D cover. But good luck getting one because DC allocated them. Frickin' DC allocating 3D covers. If you're gonna do the gimmick, just go doing the gimmick, man. Don't get complicated. Sorry, I said I wouldn't talk about it again, but it did. That was a big lie. Let's just move on. So Darkseid #1 is written by Greg Pak, and it gives us a really cool look into the backstory within the New 52 context of Darkseid and how he became Darkseid and all that stuff. Also, it has some connections to Batman and Superman, you know, the book that Greg Pak's working on right now. And you know what, I gotta say, this book was actually incredibly impressive, and I kind of figured that because Greg Pak was writing it, and he did such a great job with it. I will say the art didn't wow me, but it was good enough and mystic enough, and I liked kind of the way it flowed, but I kind of feel like it needed more of an impact. Next up, we have Joker #1 from Villains Month, also in 3D. If you can see, I don't really know if you can. So I really dug the Darkseid Villain Month book. Joker, on the other hand, I thought was not all that amazing. I mean, I thought the story was okay. I didn't think it was awful or anything. It just didn't feel like anything new, you know? It just felt like, you know, this is the typical kind of stuff we get. I will say the art in the book is actually phenomenal. Andy Clark, in my opinion, probably drew the best art I've seen all week. Well, no, I'll give that to Batman Black and White, but Andy Clark's a close second. Next up, the only non-DC book I'm getting to review this week, the big release from Dark Horse Comics, The Star Wars. So in case you haven't heard, The Star Wars is basically a comic book adaptation of George Lucas's original draft of the Star Wars story. And while the concepts are the same and, you know, the overall settings and styles and whatnot are genuinely the same, everything else is vastly different to what you know as Star Wars, the, you know, movies and whatnot. And this first issue actually was pretty good. I actually liked this a lot. The real big cool thing about this book is that the art is actually really great. Like, it's very photorealistic artwork, and it really, like, it's just engaging when you're reading the comic. Now, I won't say the book was amazing or anything like that, but I definitely enjoyed it. If you're a Star Wars fan and you want to check out something a little bit different with Star Wars, I do recommend the Star Wars. It's pretty cool, I think. Next up from Vertigo Comics, we have Trillium #2 by Jeff Lemire. Trillium, 2 issues in, is still like one of the best new books that I've been picking up lately. You know, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Jeff Lemire does his best work when it's all him. When he's writing, when he's drawing, it will always be the best that he's ever done. And it looks like Trillium's going to continue that example, because issue 2, while it doesn't have that cool flipping of the book gimmick the first issue had, it's still really freaking fantastic. And finally, the top billing book of the week.
Forever Evil #1. Oh, Fly's back. Oh God, Fly. Oh.
So Forever Evil #1 is, as I said, the first true DC Comics event of the New 52. And boy, was this an excellent first start. Oh my God, how impressive is this first issue. Here's the thing, when it comes to Jeff Johns, the characters I think he writes the best are villains, especially DC villains. I don't know what it is about it, but the guy just knows how to write villains, and to have an entire event centered around all of DC's villains is freaking genius. Well, if you're having Jeff Johns write it. The only real downside to Forever Evil is that while I do think David Finch does a great job in the art department, I don't know if he was the best choice in a lot of ways. I'm not going to get in all of them, but his art, again, while it's good, and I think it's good for, you know, villains and whatnot, it doesn't have that, you know, emotional punch that the book needs. So that is all the books of the week. In the comment section below, what books did you guys get this week, and what was your favorites? I want to know! My favorite was without a doubt Batman Black and White. Even with that crappy Neil Adams written story in the middle, it was still well worth it. Well, maybe they could have knocked $1 off, but it was still worth the price. And as usual, don't forget to like this video, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, directorscutradio.com, and Tumblr, and follow Carter on the Marvel Cinematic Universe page. Links are all down below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like what you see, and favorite the video because I like it when you do that, and I will see you guys on Tuesday with a brand new episode of Comics. See ya! Whoosh.